Greetings from Costa Rica, and welcome to this special Friday broadcast. My name is Matt Rosensteel, and today we are talking about conserving an important parcel of forest here in Guanacaste. Guanacaste, Costa Rica has huge water issues that you have probably heard about. And I'm very proud to be a part of an organization that has a positive response to those water issues. The organization is called the Guanacaste Water Center. And I'm also very proud that prior to becoming a realtor, I actually was the executive director of this organization for about 5 or 6 years here. You'll be able to see some pictures of my time as the executive director. What an idealistic self I was. The Guanacaste Water Center, or Restoring Our Watershed as it was known, has a very simple idea for addressing Guanacaste's water issues, or taking a very proactive approach to protecting those water resources. Our vision is simply long-term water security for the people and ecosystems of Guanacaste. And to accomplish that, the Guanacaste Water Center focuses on empowering communities to protect their landscapes. You see, Guanacaste has a feast and famine water cycle. It rains like heck for half the year, and then it's dry as a bone for the other half of the year. And because everybody is reliant on groundwater wells within their own community, you frequently see water shortages that don't just affect the gringos in Tamarindo, they affect because the groundwater aquifers are not being recharged enough. So through the Guanacaste Water Center, we hope to increase the amount of water that is getting into aquifers through sustainable land use practices. And we have a huge opportunity to expand the organization's vision that I'm going to talk to you all about today while asking for your help. So let's first and foremost talk about the Guanacaste Water Center. I'm very proud as well that the organization is still active today. Yep. So now we should have audio again. My apologies to those watching out there. I think the microphone just doesn't hold the charge, is what we're learning here over time. So this forest cover is absolutely critical, specifically for this basin and the watershed recharge. Here, I want to actually show you what it looks like in the real world. Here, we're looking and flying up the hill to take a look at this 187 acres and the entire basin that we're looking at. This little bowl that we're flying over is the 187 acres that we have an opportunity to preserve. I actually went for a hike in this forest only the other week, which is part of the reason that I decided to do this broadcast. And it's an absolutely beautiful spot. You can see how up to the ridges, you've got very steep slopes, and then everything coalescing here in the middle where you get a seasonal creek coming out of the farm. Now, what we're looking at is dry tropical forest here in Guanacaste. It's actually one of the world's most critically endangered ecosystems because compared to the original extent of dry tropical forest, you've got an incredibly small fraction remaining intact today. Now, to be totally honest, this is secondary forest. It's something that is regenerating, that is not in that absolutely primary forest condition. But you wouldn't find many swaths that truly qualify as primary forest. And walking around this patch, you can see there are huge, old, beautiful native species trees, and definitely that kind of growth that's been happening for decades and decades rather than just sort of recent regrowth. Here in just a moment, you will see some clips of us actually walking through the property. And by the way, I will be doing a more formal video on this here to be published later this week. So the farm goes up to the absolute peak of this watershed, the area that drains down into our river. And not only would it be a spectacular conservation project for that direct recharge of the aquifers, for the protection of the forest, for all of those good things, but it would also be the perfect living laboratory. An organization like the Guanacaste Water Center, really what we're trying to do is tap into local ecotourism and create more employment by driving people towards ecotourism in our area. So at the Guanacaste Water Center, we would love for tourists to come in and get connected with nature guides who could be going up to this farm and taking night tours or day tours, checking out the flora, fauna, learning about watershed conservation. Here you can see the little river that comes directly out of the farm. One of the important things of this aspects of this farm as a living laboratory is that, yes, it all flows into its own little river that comes out. And absolutely, it's a demonstrative concept of the watershed itself. And basically, it has the perfect hiking setup where coming up these gentle rises and on a nature trail that's already in the farm, you get to cross the river a dozen times. You get to enjoy really walking through the forest and looking at what a Guanacaste River is. There's incredible places to camp. I could see this farm being used by the organization to take groups from local elementary schools, the high schools, tourists, foreign visitors as well, going up there to demonstrate what the Guanacaste dry tropical forest is all about. And importantly, giving people like, the person I'm along with a job, an opportunity to take tourists up to the farm as well. You see a lot of areas in Guanacaste where the local park becomes such an important source of employment and such an important economic resource that the community develops as a very conservation-oriented community, since everyone is directly, getting their jobs from the park itself. And that would very much be the dream with this particular parcel. Now let's get to the specifics here and talk a little bit about the details. This conscientious, very helpful donor has offered to give us this property on the condition that, first of all, we put a permanent conservation easement on the property itself, which legally in Costa Rica is an amazing resource to ensure that land is never developed. So legally, that will be step number one. And on the title of this 187 acres will be that it cannot be used for residential or other kinds of development in the future, that it has to stay forest. And second of all, the idea is that we're going to owe the owner a small reverse mortgage. And I'm looking for the terms here. If I had that written up. Oh, shucks, I didn't actually get that one in here. Essentially, the idea is that we'll be paying a reverse mortgage. That essentially is going to be $1,000 a month from now until this donor, the conscientious person who owns this land, passes away. Now, this person is in great condition, but they are 76 years old. And imagining how long we might be paying $1,000 per month to own this 187 acres, the quantity of money that we will end up investing in owning the parcel will be an absolute bargain, a basement price for this land here in Guanacaste compared to what it would cost to actually purchase developable land in the typical market. There will be an absolute cap on this project of $250,000 paid for these 187 acres, or just over $1,000 per acre. For land anywhere close to the coast in Guanacaste, that is essentially donating the land, even if we came to paying the maximum amount. And again, we can structure things where essentially we only have to pay $1,000 per month to take ownership of this parcel and begin managing it through our nonprofit organization. The Asociación, we have a fully functioning Costa Rica nonprofit that operates the Guanacaste Water Center and that will be in charge of operating this farm. One of the things that I love about the project is also that this 187 acres is currently owned by a foreigner. We are not taking property from a local family, or we're not inheriting something that could be an asset for the local Costa Ricans. Rather, it is property that was already sold to a foreigner a while ago that could now become a community resource through the management of the Nandamojo Association, or the Guanacaste Water Center here in Paraíso. So our vision is to adopt this farm, to permanently rope it off from development, and then essentially to use it as an example, a learning lab, an adventure space, a source of local employment, all of these good things that will boost the profile of the organization, that will boost the mission of the organization itself and give them the opportunity to really have an impact on watershed recharge. And if you want to know more about this, you can email me at the address here, matt@costaricamat.com. So far, we are about halfway to our monthly mortgage payment. We have donors who have committed close to $500 per month until this conscientious donor passes through the pearly gates someday. So if you are interested in helping us flesh out the last $500 per month that we need, reach out and we can talk about this project. My family and company will definitely be supporting this conservation project, and I would love to hear from you if you are interested in doing so as well. Again, my apologies for the audio problems. Thanks very much for joining me today on Friday. We'll be back with Costa Rica real estate topics next Friday, September 27th. Thanks for joining me.